Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
A coronial inquest into the suspected murder of Larrimah man Paddy Moriarty reopens today at SA Blip on the highway, 500 kilometres south of Darwin. Blinken ull miss it. But the tiny town of Larrimah, with a population of less than a dozen people, holds the key to solving one of the Northern Territory's biggest outback mysteries, the disappearance of Patrick Paddy Moriarty. The Northern Territory Coroner hopes to finally uncover what happened when he today reopens the Coronial Inquest into the 70-year-old's suspected death. Beers, pies and a bit of feud. It was dusk on December 16, 2017, when Mr Moriarty finished a beer at Larrimah's Pink Panther-themed hotel and rode his quad bike a couple of 100 metres home, with his kelpie Kellie by his side. It appeared he heated himself and Kellie some dinner, then disappeared without a trace. A cooked chook was still in the microwave, food on the table, and his ute untouched outside. There was no sign of a struggle. No sign of Mr Moriarty or Kellie. Most days in the dusty little town looked the same for Mr Moriarty. He would go to the pub in the morning, help with some odd jobs, sink a few beers and have a yarn with tourists who stopped in to see the iconic Pink Hotel in the middle of nowhere. He had no known family in Australia or his home country of Ireland and was a happy-go-lucky kind of man, according to his friends. Mr Moriarty wasn't immune to the bitter tangle of neighbourly disputes which plagued the Larrimah community around the time he went missing. In fact, according to one neighbour, he was the instigator. The 70-year-old Irishman and his neighbour, Devonshire Tea House owner Fran Hodgetts, were physically separated by the Stuart Highway, which ran between their properties. But there seemingly was a river of bad blood and allegations of petty crime that kept the pair further apart than any road could have done. Ms Hodgetts has claimed Mr Moriarty tried to sabotage her business by rubbishing her homemade pies in front of potential customers. In an interview with ABC journalist Murray McLaughlin in 2011, Mr Moriarty was quoted as saying, "Fran's got the worst pies. And I'll effing tell you that. They were shit over there. I used to go over there, and the dog wouldn't eat Fran's pie." Ms Hodgetts also claimed Mr Moriarty stole her sun umbrella, left a dead kangaroo on her property and poisoned her garden. When the coroner first looked into Mr Moriarty's disappearance, during a part-heard inquest in Katherine in 2018, other Larrimah residents told the court Ms Hodgetts used to say "I'll kill Paddy" and that the pair detested each other. A few months before Mr Moriarty disappeared, Ms Hodgetts hired a gardener, Owen Laurie. Mr Laurie told the inquest he was joking when he told Ms Hodgetts, "If anyone touches my garden it'll be the first murder in Larrimah." Both Ms Hodgetts and Mr Laurie have denied having anything to do with Mr Moriarty's disappearance, and police have never named either as a person of interest. The police investigation and $250,000 reward to Detective Sergeant Matt Allen. Mr Moriarty's disappearance is an unsolved homicide. "Somebody out there knows what has happened to Paddy and Kellie," he told the ABC in 2018. Larrimah Hotel owner and friend of Mr Moriarty, Barry Sharp, told the ABC in 2017 he thought his mate had been done in the Northern Territory outback, along the Stuart Highway. Disappearances and murders aren't unheard of. There are long stretches of road with nothing but dust and distance as far as the eye can see. It is not hard to go missing where there is no one to find you. But last year, Detective Sergeant Allen said, a 70-year-old man does not just disappear from a tiny outback town. Dozens of police, community members and search and rescue crews have spent countless hours over the past 4 years trying to pinpoint Mr Moriarty's final moments. His mysterious disappearance captured media attention across the globe, with a book, podcast, mini-series and an American documentary published about his story. A $250,000 reward for information that leads to locating Mr Moriarty's body and convicting the responsible person was offered last year, as investigating police urged people to come forward. It is hard to keep a secret. Someone out there knows what happened. We want them to come forward. Help us solve a murder, Detective Sergeant Allen said. He is expected to give evidence when the inquest resumes today. A town reunited. A lot has changed in Larrimah over the years since Mr Moriarty went missing. Ms Hodgetts now lives in Melbourne, receiving medical care. Her grandson, Brent Cillier, has taken over the running of her tea house, and together with some other new residents, the average age in Larrimah has dropped dramatically. All this bad stuff happened and the residents are just trying to change things now. They've moved on, Mr Cillier said.